morning, beautiful being, and welcome to my backyard and my new hat, which I got from my mother. And it's another beautiful morning, and I'm not going to apologise for being late. I had a technical problem. Normally, I send myself an email with the words in it for my live, which I just copy and paste from Gmail into Facebook, and it's all good. G'day, Mike! And today, Gmail just won't run on my phone. So I had to get home, get my husband to go into his Gmail because my computer wasn't on, and type the words laboriously on the screen, which is, takes ages. So I've got to try and solve that problem before tomorrow. Anyway, much better late than never. Here we are in the back garden, and it's a beautiful day. G'day, Eves! This is, you know what Wellington skies look like. It's not Phoenix, it's Wellington, and it's beautiful. I mean, this is the time of year when we just get this. Day after day of beautiful, calm, crisp weather. It is definitely the best time in Wellington, New Zealand, to be here. It's glorious. And, nothing's moving. There is no wind. It's quite pleasant outside. And you can see that the nereines, the pink ones are kind of finished, but the white ones are still going strong. And this is the back garden. And it's kind of quiet here. There's a lot more happening in the front, but I just feel like being here today. And we have a few cassia flowers, which are fabulous. By location, yes. That's one way to do it, Eve. Smart lady. So, there's a beautiful yellow flower. Here's something interesting. These are walking onions. See this? It makes it makes a flower. Right, there's the flower stem. And the flower turns into this. And then they fall on the ground and make more. They've just sat there for years, and they're kind of an interesting, quaint thing. And they're not really big enough to eat. But they're kind of cute, and I like them. So there they are. And we still have, see this campanula, it just never stops, and I appreciate its constancy. It just keeps flowering, and that's a lovely thing. But there's lots of stuff that is finishing. It's the time of year for it. We have big fat lemons. That one's ripe enough, I should be picking it. So there it goes. Good morning, Faye. Here we are, better late than never. And here is the back garden. You can hear the birds. Oh look, the sun's starting to hit the wattles, which are beginning to gear up for their winter flowering. You can't really see that from where you are, but I can see it. And, it's a lovely day. So welcome everybody. Welcome everybody who's jumping on, whether you have never done that before or whether I am a familiar face and voice in your world. I appreciate you sharing your time and energy with me. And today I want to talk about, it was a one-liner that somebody dropped somewhere a couple of days ago, whenever it was. I am my own worst enemy. And I thought, let's talk about that one, because I haven't for a long time. And with that topic, it's very tempting to go into all the reasons why I am my own worst enemy and how I sabotage myself and, all of that stuff. But when you do that, you're continuing to activate the story and the reasons and the why it is the way it is. And it's not particularly helpful to do that. I'm worst enemy because this trauma happened to me, or I just keep on sabotaging myself and I can't seem to stop it. And, and before you know it, you spent 10 or 15 or 20 minutes or an hour or a week or a lifetime saying, well, basically I'm a victim of my own life and I can't change this. And I've tried, okay? God, I know what that's like. I do. My thing was not self-sabotage. My thing was I am in lack. And no matter what I do, I just can't manifest abundance. It's like, what the hell with abundance? It pisses me off. I can't do it. So that was my thing. And I could tell you all the stories why. And I could tell you how hard I tried to change it. So I'm not speaking about this kind of in a glass house throwing stones. It doesn't help to work out all the reasons why. Now, whether those are reasons inside you because you've had sickness or because you've had trauma or because how old you are or how young you are or, whatever, or whether it's because of reasons outside of you, as diverse as some therapist or practitioner told me XYZ, or this situation's happening in my life, or this situation happened in my life in the past, or this situation is going to happen in my life in the future, it doesn't matter. The point is, while you're focusing on all the reasons why you're your own worst enemy, well, that's where, those are the circuits that you continue to fire in your brain, and that is the chemistry that you continue to send to your body, and so that's how you're going to continue to think and feel, and whatever you think and you feel is going to influence your behaviour and what you do, and if you keep on thinking and feeling the same thoughts and feelings, you're going to have the same behaviours and experiences, and that's going to keep on giving you more of the same thoughts and feelings, and it just carries on. So clearly we have to do something else. Carmelina, it's great to see you. Jenny, it's lovely to see you. Morning. It's lovely to see everybody who jumps on. So, yeah, how do we do this differently? And it's not about suppressing your bad feelings and ignoring the fact that, whatever. It's not about ignoring or suppressing the story either. It's about overcoming it. And, and I thought about people who say, I am my own worst enemy, I keep screwing things up, I make bad choices, I let the wrong people into my life, I get a good opportunity and then I screw it up, whatever it is. You can go into analysis paralysis over how you could have done it differently or whatever. But actually, really what you want to do is figure out what it's like to be your own best friend. Jen, good morning, sweetie. That's the thing. Okay, so I've been my own worst enemy for however long, for whatever reasons. Who cares? Right now, I got to do something different. What is it like if I am my own best friend? Oh, shit. Really? What does that mean? And, a lot of people, self-care, self-love, yeah, you can give yourself some nice experiences and go and get some treatments and things that your body may need. I'm not just talking about luxury. I'm talking about things that nurture you and, exercise and eat the right foods or foods that are good for you and enjoy some foods too. It's not always about, I got to eat the right food. Why don't I have some fun as well in a balanced way that, supports me? Or I go, oh yeah, that's really good, but I'm not going to do that every day. All of that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you are still doing that from a place inside yourself where you think, oh yeah, this is nice, but it's not going to last. This is nice, so I'm going to bugger it up again. If you're still having the same expectations of yourself and you're still running the same feelings of, oh God, when's the next shoe going to drop? When is it going to happen that the same old thing happens because I just can't seem to stop being my own worst enemy? That's the thing. We think doing the thing with our bodies and making the changes and all of that is going to change our lives, and it will to some extent. But unless you actually start to pay attention, and as Dr. Joe Dispenza, my inspiration, says, think about what you've been thinking about and start to notice thoughts and feelings that you haven't noticed for perhaps 40 years, which is exactly what I've been doing recently. Nothing's going to change, because you've got to have different thoughts and do different things to have different feelings, because the feelings come from having an experience, whether it's inside your head or in your body. You've got to have different experiences to have different feelings, and then those different feelings are going to drive different thoughts. But it's got to start usually with you getting aware of the crappy thoughts you've been thinking and the crappy feelings you've been having, and realizing that that's the connection. You have a thought, it makes a feeling. The feeling doesn't come from nowhere. There are these things called neurotransmitters that happen in your brain when you think a thought, and they send signals to your body to make you feel the way you were just thinking. Erin, it's great to see you. So, you have to change the thoughts. And that can be really, really hard. That can be really, really hard when you're so accustomed to thinking and feeling the way you're so accustomed to thinking and feeling. And I had this come up a couple of days ago. And I realised a set of thoughts that were really limiting. And really just not what I wanted to be thinking at all. And I just didn't want to go there. But I had to go there enough to think about, well, how is it that I do want to be thinking? How do I want to be thinking? I don't want to keep doing the same old shit, thinking the same old thoughts. Bloody hell, what do I want to think? And so I started to write down some thoughts, and, I've been working with them since, because I realised I had this so much lack going on in my head, and it was just driving all this emotion, which was no longer relevant at all, but it was taking all my attention. It was old, it was outdated, it wasn't relevant to how my life has changed at all, but it was just, oh my God, this is so strong. And I really had to think hard, because otherwise I'm going to go forward into my future, which is vastly different to what my past has been, but I'm going to still be the same person, and I'm going to feel exactly the same way, as if nothing had changed at all. And it was a real, I've always had this sort of, it's a concept, oh, well, your thoughts and your feelings are really not dependent upon your circumstances. They're really not, people keep saying this to me, and I listen to them tell their stories of how they've changed, and they changed their thoughts, and then their circumstances caught up with them, and now it's really real. Because I had a significant change in my circumstances, and yet as soon as that happened, my brain went straight back to the old lackful thinking and feeling. My body followed straight after my thought. Said, oh, okay, it's still not going to be enough. You're still going to be in lack. There's nothing different here. You still have to be afraid. And I just had to pull myself up and think, oh my God. Do I want to go into this future that has arrived thinking and feeling the way that I have been thinking and feeling all this time? And I've been working to overcome this. I've been very consciously choosing. But I had to make another choice to actually just no longer allow that. It was a very deep choice. It's another story. So if you find yourself thinking, well, I'm always doing whatever. I always do this. I always do that. This is how it works. This is how it is in my life. Those kinds of feelings, that it's never going to change, it's never going to be any different, whatever it is, those kinds of feelings, those are the ones to actually look at and think, hang on a moment, is this really true? Just because I've been thinking this thought for the last 20 years, does that mean that it's true for me? Is it going to carry on like that? Should I even be saying, oh, I am my own worst enemy? Whenever you say, I am anything, you are just making that who you are. It's just, do you want to do that? What do you want to be speaking? What do you want to be thinking? What do you want to be feeling? How do you want to be showing up? And is it about who you've been in the past or who you want to be in the future? You have to really stop and look at yourself and look at your behaviour and how you're behaving towards yourself. And by the way, you get a massive reflection of that when you look at how you behave towards others. If you're always in their face, if you're always whatever, then you're probably always in your own face as well. If you never give yourself any peace, then you probably never give anyone else any peace either. If you're always beating up on yourself, you're probably always beating up on other people. You may not do it in your head, the person who is always running around letting other people kind of dominate them, but inside, they're not only beating up on themselves, but they're beating up on those people intellectually and emotionally as well. Just know, you have to actually be willing to look at the ugly parts of yourself and say, enough, I've got to stop being this person. No. So, it's about recognizing where you've not been respecting yourself, not been looking after yourself, not been choosing what's right for you, and we talked about that yesterday. That if you really listen to yourself, you are going to know what's right for you and what's true for you, and eventually you'll have the courage to follow it up. And it becomes who you are. To just stop and think and hold on a minute. Just hold on. How do I want to show up in my life now? What's right for me now? What is loving and respectful and caring to me? What's appropriate for me now? How am I going to do this? And it's a thoughtful process, and it's a heartfelt process of how do I want to show up as my own best friend? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What do I do differently when I am my own best friend? And so you have to look at how you've been not your own best friend and say, well, okay. And you have to make different choices. That's really all there is to it. To be kind to yourself. And I think it takes a lot of courage to look at yourself and say, oh, jeez. I've been showing up as an absolute doormat and letting other people make choices for me. Or, my God, my behaviour's been crap. Or, oh my God, I've been walking around in fear my entire life and I just didn't know it. You know, that is self-love. To actually stop and pay attention and listen to yourself. I mean, really, look, listen, pay attention, get real. Stop spouting answers at everybody and yourself and get real. Really look yourself in the mirror and say, okay, well, if I am my own worst enemy, what was that? How did I get it? Not even how did I get into that habit, but how do I do that? And if I can work out how it is that I do being my own worst enemy, maybe I can also work out how it is to be my best friend. And it's choosing, and it's paying attention, and it's coming into your heart moment by moment so you can make a different choice. And we flip-flop. You go back to the old habit, sometimes for 5 minutes, sometimes for 5 days, sometimes for a month, before you think, oh shit, I'm doing that again. I'm not being my own best friend anymore. I've gone back to the old self. Oh gee, how did I do it this time? What was I doing? Okay, get the feedback. Now, how do I want to do it differently next time? Because you know that if you think, oh, geez, I've done that 20 times before. Right? Well, on the 21st time, what do I want to do differently? How do I want to be different? How do I want to be different? So, being my own best friend takes courage. It takes willingness to make new choices. Oh my God, it takes willingness even not to be liked. It takes willingness occasionally to tell people or circumstances or situations, no, not right for me anymore, just no. So, you know, all of these choices that we have to make about who we want to be. And it's, you know, pedicures and massage treatments are great. But to really love myself, to really be my best friend, I have to choose me. And I have to choose me over everybody else. And that can be a big thing too. Because people get so used to putting others first because they think that that's loving. But if you put somebody else first and you resent them, then that's not love. It's not love for you. It's not love for anybody. I have to be in coherence with myself. I have to be choosing and really wanting and in alignment with whatever it is that I'm choosing in my life. And if I'm not, I better say no to it. I've got better at that because I'm better at being my own best friend. I'm better at defending myself. Now, I don't mean about going into battle and fighting people. I just mean gracefully and lovingly, because I prefer to be graceful and loving. When I say no, I'll do it as kindly as I can. But I will do it. I just won't accept what's not right for me, not from anyone. It's the most loving thing I can do is to say no. So, being your own best friend means putting yourself first. And it can be a big change if you're used to being everyone else's best friend, but you're doing it from a space of fear or lack or whatever it is. You've got to look at that and you've got to be willing to do something else. And that takes courage. But the more you have the courage and the more you make the different choices, the more you love yourself that way, the more you love yourself. And it's a blessing. It's a great blessing to love myself like this. And I can't lose this love for myself. It's mine. It's always mine. And it's a kind of love for myself that I've never had in my life. And I'm so grateful to have it. I'm grateful to share it with you. Now, I was going to remind you about something. I can't remember what it was. And it doesn't matter. It's Thursday. Very much love. I will see you again tomorrow with bells on.